Hello Year 1 children, it's Mr Yeardsley with today's story. It's the last story of this half term and it's called Mrs Pepperpot and the Treasure. Oh golly, Mrs Pepperpot doesn't look very big, does she? Maybe that's why she's as big as a pepperpot. It was a fine sunny day in January and Mrs Pepperpot was peeling potatoes at the kitchen sink. Meow, said the cat. Meow yourself, answered Mrs Pepperpot. Meow, said the cat again. Mrs Pepperpot wiped her hands and knelt down beside the cat. There's something you want to tell me, isn't there, Puss? It's too bad I can only understand you when I've shrunk to the size of a pepper pod. She stroked the cat, but Puss didn't purr. She just went on looking at her. Well, I can't spend all day being sorry for you, my girl, said Mrs Pepperpot, going back to the potatoes in the sink. When they were ready, she put them on the stove to cook. Puss was at the door now. Meow, she said, scratching at it. You want to get out, do you? Said Mrs Pepperpot and opened the door. And just at that moment, she shrank to Pepperpot's size. About time too, said the cat. Now let's not waste any more time. Jump on my back and hold on tight. Puss bounded off with Mrs Pepperpot clinging for all she was worth. The first danger is just round the corner, Puss said. Sit tight, don't say a word. All Mrs Pepperpot could see was a single birch tree with a couple of magpies in it. The birds seemed as big as eagles to her now, and the tree was like a mountain. There's the cat, the magpies screamed. Let's nip her tail, let's pull her whiskers. And they swooped down, skimming so close over Mrs Pepperpot's head she was nearly blown away. But Puss took no notice at all. She just kept on going down the hill, and the magpies soon tired of that game. That's that, said the cat. Now we must watch out for snowballs. We have to cross the boys' playground, so if any of them aim at you, duck behind my ears and hang on. Mrs Pepperpot looked at the boys. She knew them all. She'd often given them sweets and biscuits. They can't be dangerous, she said to herself. But then she heard one of them say, Here comes that stupid cat. Let's see who can hit it first. Come on, boys. And they all started throwing snowballs as hard as they could. That's not very nice, is it at all? Puss ran on till he reached a wire fence with a hole just big enough to wriggle through. So far so good, she said, but now comes the worst bit, because this is Dogland and we don't want to get caught. Mrs Pepperpot knew the neighbour's dog quite well. She had fed him bones and scraps and he was always very friendly. We'll be all right here, she thought. But she was wrong. Without any warning, the dog came chasing after them in great leaps and bounds. Mrs Pepperpot shook like a jelly when she saw his wide-open jaws, all red with sharp white teeth glistening in a terrifying way. She flattened herself on the cat's back and clung on for dear life, for Puss shot like a flash across the yard and straight into the neighbour's barn. Phew, said the cat. That was a narrow escape. Thanks very much for coming all this way with me. That's all right, said Mrs Pepperpot. But why are we here? It's a surprise, said Puss. All we have to do now is find the hidden treasure, but this means crawling through the hay, so hang on. And off they went again, slowly this time, for it was hard going through the prickly stalks. They seemed as big as bean poles to Mrs Pepperpot. The dust was terrible. It was in her eyes, her mouth, her hair, down her neck, everywhere. Can you see anything? Asked the cat. Nothing at all, said Mrs Pepperpot, for by now her eyes were completely bunged up with hayseed and dust. Try blinking, said the cat, for this is where my hidden treasure lays. So Mrs Pepperpot blinked and blinked again until she could open her eyes properly. When she did, she was astonished. All round her shone the most wonderful jewels, diamonds, sapphires, emeralds. They glittered in every hue. There you are. Didn't I tell you I had hidden treasure for you? Said the cat. But she didn't give Mrs Pepperpot time to have a closer look. We'll have to hurry back now, or your potatoes will be spoiled. So they crawled back through the hay, and just as they came out into the daylight, Mrs Pepperpot grew to her ordinary size. She picked up the cat in her arms as she walked across the yard. The dog was there, but what a different dog. He nuzzled Mrs Pepperpot's skirt and wagged his tail in the friendliest way. Through the gate they came to where the boys were playing. Each one of them nodded to her politely and said, Good morning! Then they went up the hill, and there were the magpies in the birch tree, but not a sound came from them. When they got to the house, Mrs Pepperpot put the cat down and hurried indoors to rescue her potatoes. Then she went back down the hill, through the gate to her neighbour's yard and into the barn. She climbed over the hay until she found the spot where the hidden treasure lay. And what do you think it was? For beautiful coal-black kittens with shining eyes. Not treasures, it was their eyes reflected in the light, wasn't it? Isn't it funny how some people speak differently to others depending on who you are? I think that cat found that out. Mrs Pepperpot certainly did about the boys and the magpies, didn't she? And the dog, friendly dog with her, but not so friendly when it comes to cats. Hope you have a nice half-term break, year one. Have a good rest, ready for more learning when we come back on the 23rd of February. In the meantime, take care. Remember the school motto, if you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours. Keep on smiling.